Hey guys, what's going on? You are checking out an all new The RCWR Show coming at you this Monday night of August the 12th, 2019. What's going on? Lee Sanders here coming at you guys once again. And I know this is probably going to be new for those of you that's checking out the show on a Monday night. Some of you may be used to checking out the show live Tuesday nights, maybe and or checking out the audio afterwards, because we do put the audio out on demand and on the downloads, and that typically includes some bonus audio content and everything. But it's kind of going back to some old territory, but it's at the same time kind of new. I think new from the standpoint it's new for listeners, be it you're a longtime listener or maybe you're somebody that just recently came on board and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I'm not used to you on a Monday night. So basically, in case you had missed it, we made the announcement last week that we were going to go on ahead and we were going to have the show move back to Monday nights. Now, when I started the show in 2011, by the way, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. We've always had our Tuesday night slot. Well, we also used to faithfully come on Monday nights and we would strictly just talk about Raw. And then for like a couple of years, there was two shows that was done at the same time. One was just strictly a Raw recap show, and then the other one was just the full-blown RCWR show that's just all over the place that you guys love. We polled you guys a couple of months back asking you all what would you like, and the majority had basically said, you know, honestly, I'm fine if you did a Monday show, just combine the two, you know, just give us the regular show, no problem, right? So I did kind of take that into equation, and that's pretty much why we're here where we are right now. A lot of pluses with this. Number one, it puts me in a situation where Fresh After Raw has gotten off the air. Still a number of really cool fresh topics, some news that we can get into that's fresh off the press we can talk about on the show, all that good stuff, right? But then also, it frees me up a lot more. It frees me up a lot more from the standpoint of I can focus more on audio editing. I can focus more on catching up on some rest, catching up on some personal matters, enjoy a nice little breather before the fall hits, because we got AEW and I do plan on covering that promotion best as I can, while also at the same time extending the family a little bit as far as coverage goes for certain shows. So that's why we got what's going on with Monday nights from here on out. So I hope it's a welcome adjustment for a lot of you guys and everything. I mean, we'll see how it goes. We'll definitely, I think feedback is the most important thing, you know. Overall, if Mondays work out good for everybody, then we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, right? But one thing you can definitely expect on the Monday night shows, we will definitely talk a bit more about Raw. It's not a full-blown Raw recap. There's enough of those as it is out there. I never believe myself to just be doing the whole full-blown Raw recap. And that's kind of one of the main reasons why we stopped doing the shows on Mondays, because I was tired of the whole same format, just covering one particular topic, all right? But I will talk a lot more about Raw. It's what you've all have come to know and love and appreciate, all right? So, hey, enjoy. Hope your weekend was good. We are fresh off of SummerSlam weekend. I mean, take your pick, man. We had NXT TakeOver. We had G1 from New Japan Pro Wrestling. We had the SummerSlam. And then tonight, we've got Monday Night Raw. And then Tuesday night, we've got SmackDown and everything. And getting to the very top of the matter for Raw, you know, I know we're kind of going back and forth a little bit, right? Don't have to go in a particular order, but my God, we had Sasha Banks make her return. I gotta tell you, I was legit ecstatic for Sasha Banks returning. Look, my thoughts on Sasha Banks returning. Sure, first of all, she's been on the mouths of many people for a couple of months now. Everybody was trying to figure out what was going on with her. He had a lot of reports floating around. Oh, AEW. Oh, this is what's going on. And that's what's going on with her. And I've always tried to tell you guys, don't believe everything that you see, you read, right, you hear. Just kind of take everything that's being put out there with a grain of salt until otherwise, right? And for me, it was always what I honestly have felt, just in my heart of hearts, and I think ultimately it would have to be up to the likes of Sasha Banks to step forward and talk about, okay, this is what was going on with me during my time away from the WWE. That's her story to tell, right? None of us need to speculate, and I know that we're going to have a lot of people that's going to speculate. We're going to have people, take your pick, the usual suspects, the Dave Meltzers, the Ryan Satins, and all that. We're going to have people that's going to speculate and try to figure out, oh, well, according to my respected sources, this is what was going on with Sasha Banks. Like, I'm taking all of that with a grain of salt. I would rather hear it straight from the horse's mouth as far as what was going on with her during the time away from the company and everything. But for me, one thing that I definitely have felt was that Sasha had got to a point in her career where she felt a little bit frustrated. And I'm not going to pinpoint exactly the frustration, but I do feel as though there was a part of her that felt a bit mentally and physically burned out. And there was a case where she really needed to step away, recharge her batteries a little bit, try to do some soul searching, right? And kudos to WWE for giving her that time. And again, there's some stuff otherwise, what I'm putting out there, I'm sure there's a lot more to it. But again, that's for her story to tell, right? It's not for us to guess. But I would like to believe that there was definitely, you can just almost kind of look at it from just a viewing standpoint with the last little bit of work that you saw of her before she had went on hiatus. It really did kind of look as though she was just phoning it in, kind of seeming a little bit nonchalant, just, okay, I'm just going over here, just doing my thing, whatever, right? So I know we had all those reports floating around about AEW and all that other stuff. For me, it was just, hey, she's not active right now. It is what it is. But I got to tell you, a couple of months, I definitely was getting the itch saying, man, it'd be so great if, Sasha Banks would be perfect right here. And what did I say on this show less than 24 hours ago when we were doing the SummerSlam post-show recap? I had said, it would be so badass if during the Bayley taking on Amber Moon match, if basically you had a case come about where it would ultimately be Sasha Banks that would cause Bayley the SmackDown Women's title, a little bit of history, a little bit of unresolved issues right there between those two. Gino, what's up, Gino? Unresolved issues right there would make a lot of sense to go in that direction, kind of pick up right where things had last been left between Sasha and Bayley. And then, hey, you got Amber Moon as a champion. All right, just keep on rocking and rolling with that. Would have made a lot of sense to go in that direction. But then I had said, okay, well, you know what? If they don't go in that direction with Sasha Banks, then unless you're going to pull your shot, you're calling it on Monday Night Raw, then when is the next opportunity? You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I just looked at it as a case where, okay, you're running out of these opportunities because right now your roster, as far as the women's division goes, the main roster, the women, it's really hurting right now, right? It is drastically different from where things were. I mean, Ronda Rousey, not there. Nia Jax, she's out. Tamina was starting to build a bit of momentum. Take her out now, right? Here she is once again, suffered an injury or whatnot, right? So she's out of the equation. And so what remains is a bit, kind of average to a bit below average, right? So for me, it was a case of, okay, well, unless you're going to head on over to Jasmine Duke, Marina Shafir, Shayna Baszler, you know me passionately, if you've been checking out the show for a couple of months at least, I've been saying passionately, bring those cats up from NXT, bring them up to the main roster. My God, Ruby Riott, she's out. Can't remember the last time I saw freaking Sarah Logan. Liv Tyler, nowhere to be. I'm sorry, Liv Morgan. I said Liv Tyler. I wish it was Liv Tyler. That'd be a totally different experience Monday and Tuesday nights. But no, seriously, Liv Morgan, out of the equation there. And so for me, it was definitely a case where it's, okay, well, we got to do something. We got to shake things up a little bit. We got to make things interesting again with the women's division. What can we do here? So for me, I was thinking of a couple of scenarios where they could bring in Sasha Banks, and honestly, like I said Sunday night, If they don't do it Monday night, that's going to be like the last time I ever play with the idea of, you know what would be cool? You know what would be cool? Is if somehow you put Sasha Banks in right here. That would be badass. I'm happy they did it. You know, the placement of it, it's definitely a bit questionable. It really is, considering when the last time we saw Sasha Banks. Like, the story is right there for, no, Sasha Bailey. That makes more sense, but I tell you, they're out there in Canada again, and look, not for nothing, I love Natty. I've had a lot of respect for Natty for many, many years now. She is definitely one of my favorite go-to wrestlers. When I see her on, I go, hey, at least I know I'm going to get a decent match when Natty's there. And then there's those rare occasions, like with what she had did against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, where she steps it up, right? But I always know when I see Natty, I can rest knowing, hey, this is a good steady hand. She's definitely going to put it all out there. I'm going to be somewhat entertained. I know some people may look at it as a piss break and some other shit, but I've always had a soft spot for Natty. And seeing her out there again in Canada in front of her own people, she's cutting that promo, and it is a promo that you're supposed to feel very invested in, because here she is, she's coming out, her arm is in a sling, she's selling this whole notion of, man, the match that I had against Becky Lynch, it had really took a lot out of me. I put it all out there, I went above and beyond. But as you can see, my arm is now in a sling. I got to go get an MRI done, and it looks as though I may be out for a little bit. But hey, as far as I'm concerned, Becky Lynch got the one up on me on that night, but I'm not done just yet with her. Me and her definitely going to be locking it up again. Bank on that, right? But then she gets into this whole thing about her dad and how she felt her dad was somewhere in the heavens watching from above, was really proud of her performance Sunday night and everything. And I tell you, up until that point, go back and play it. I mean, by the time it gets on Hulu and other platforms, it's probably going to be edited. But when you look at the original raw cut version of when she was cutting that promo, the crowd did not care. They did not care. You could feel their energy. They were starting to do little chants. There was heckling, things of that nature. And you're going, wow, this is one of Canada's own. Like, the Hart family is freaking royalty, right? They are looked at like freaking like Prince Harry in them, right? You know, Princess Diana in them. You know, they're the Hart family in Canada. You know, there's a few things that the Canadians are very proud of, and the Hart family is definitely one of those. And so here you have a member of the Hart family that's in the middle of the ring that is getting the piss poor reactions that she's getting. And once again, it kind of follows up to what I had talked about Sunday, which was she wasn't properly built up. It was just kind of just out of nowhere, just thin air. She just pops up and boom, there's this feud with Becky, basically, right? So the crowd not really feeling her, heckling her and everything. But then once she starts bringing up her dad, now it's kind of like, well, we don't want to be dicks, and we don't really want to, because she's now talking about her dad, and okay. You know, and it was just a segment that honestly felt like it was going on, and it was going nowhere. Cue the music of Sasha Banks, her coming out, the fans eating that up, very happy to see her. And then we see Sasha Banks go in there, hugs her. You got Corey Graves. Corey Graves already given the warning shot. Oh, just like Sasha Banks, typical Sasha Banks, gotta hog up the spotlight, gotta make it be all about her. Cole and the gang, they're like, what are you talking about, Corey? Like seriously, we haven't seen her in a while. She's back. She looks refreshed. It looks like maybe she's just trying to go give Natty some morale support. Like, come on, why are you tripping like that? To see Sasha just go hug it out with Natty and then belligerent with her new hair, that was kind of baffling to me. It was like, hey, Sasha Banks, okay, she still has the, as my girl would like to say, she's got the troll color hair. Okay, yeah, she's got the troll color hair. Well, she traded the pink hair for dark blue hair. Okay, yeah, whatever, cool. Personally, I would have liked it if it would have been jet black or dark brown or whatever. But hey, man, it is what it is. It's cool. Looks good either way. Having her attack Natty, the fans, just ecstatic that they no longer had to hear Natty's mouth chants of "Thank you, Sasha," because they were so up to here with Natty. I mean, that is just a telling tale. It really, really is. And again, that's not the fault of Natty. Natty is doing everything in her power. She's given the assignment. They give her the audible. She goes out there. She executes it. I put it all on just how everything was just set up with her from a booking / writing standpoint when it's all said and done. But then just when we think that's pretty much it, it's like, okay, so now we see where this is going. Natty's going to try to get a little bit of retribution in a couple of weeks against Sasha. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Now, then we have Becky Lynch coming to the aid, right? And this is great. It really, really is, because remember, one of the dilemmas that we had talked about on the SummerSlam post show was, okay, so what exactly is next for Becky Lynch? You pretty much sent Lacey Evans back to the dugout, so to speak, right? And then looking at the landscape of where everything is with the women's division and everything, the tag team division is, pretty much kind of locked up. You really don't have a good, solid number one female contender to try to face Becky for the title. This is definitely refreshing, even though we've seen these two girls lock it up before. But the fact that, it sells in itself too, especially when you're getting ready to go into September 15th's Night of Champions. It sells itself when you really stop and think about it. The boss versus the man. That fucking sells. The great history going back to their time in NXT and everything. Everything, even the feuds that they've had on the main roster, everything on paper, it stacks up very, very well. This is a great new challenge for Becky, because remember what I said going back to Sunday. I said, look, other than what went down with Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, since Becky has been the champion, there really hasn't been that, of bravado, right? The gravitas. There really hasn't been that milestone feud slash match that you can go back on and say, man, this program that she had was pretty good. What she did with Natty on such short notice, that was good from a straight up, hey, we need something for this pay-per-view. That was good for that. And it's nice that the way things kind of ended, you can eventually come back on the back burner and you can go back to that if you want to. But to basically follow up and now slide in Sasha Banks, this is totally perfect. And, honestly, I have no problem with how it was laid out for Sasha Banks. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this and going, nah, she should have came after Bayley. Like, what the fuck? Honestly, for me, I hope that with Sasha Banks back this go round, it could be a situation where Sasha Banks just sticks her nose in every damn body's fucking business. I say, why not? Why does she have to just focus on one particular thing? Spread her out a little bit all over the place. That way everything intertwines, so to speak, right? But she doesn't really need to say that much. When you go back and you think about the boss character from down in NXT, everything was about her. Everything was about getting her just due, all that shit, So I really hope that this go round, kind of playing up to something that I talked about off and on in previous months before she took her hiatus, which was, okay, what exactly is she a boss of? She's coming out there and she's crying every single time some type of a match goes down, right? Or she's, I guess, overjoyed, to pull a quote from a Stevie Wonder song or whatever. But, she's crying every single goddamn time, and it looks like she's kind of throwing a fit. It's like, what the hell? Can we get to a Sasha Banks that is really acting like a boss. You know, a boss is somebody that comes to the scene, commands the attention, is calling the shots, right? Making everybody abide by her rules and everything, right? It's like, no, 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 you're going to do things my way. We're going to play the game my way. Okay, well, act like it. And what we saw tonight was definitely a nice little throwback to a Sasha Banks from previous years. So I'm actually excited. I'm happy that she's back. And hey, enjoy the honeymoon is all I have to say, folks, right? Let's all together collectively enjoy the honeymoon and while it lasts, yeah. Some other key points from Monday's Raw. Looks like the announcement was made for SummerSlam. SummerSlam in 2020 is going to be happening in the Boston area. Yes, the Boston area. You know, you would just like to believe that with SummerSlam happening in Boston, somehow, they're going to have John Cena be a part of that. And if I were to just kind of make a little bit of a bold prediction, so to speak, you know, I mean, if you want to do something kind of cool, why not? I'm just throwing an idea out there. If you really want to make SummerSlam in Boston pretty memorable, why not go on ahead and officially retire John Cena? Why not do that? Now, some people may hear that, and you may be a hardcore John Cena fan, and you be like, "No, Lee, no, he can't retire." It's like, but if you really stop and you think about it, John Cena has accomplished so much in the WWE. I mean, his career in the WWE pretty much goes all the way back to, like, you know, technically late 2001 going into 2002. I mean, he's seen it all. He's done it all. 42 going on 43. Does he have a couple of more runs in him? Yes, he does. But it really feels as though the WWE product is going in a entirely different direction without John Cena. So it really feels as though, you know, we really, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it kind of sucks to say, but, you know, there's always that time, be it in professional wrestling or with your favorite TV show, your favorite actor or actress, they leave the series. You know, maybe it's a case where the actor feels that they've outgrown the role, they've outgrown the show, and they really want to jump out there, test the waters, see what else they can do, and that's their God-given right, okay? And with John Cena, you know, he's at that point in his life right now where he's trying to test out new things, right? So for me, I just think it would be so fucking cool if you really want to make things come around full circle and everything. John Cena, last match, have it go down at SummerSlam 2020. I mean, I can't really think of a better place. I can't think of a more perfect place than for John Cena to have his one last match. That's it. I mean, because Hollywood is a fucking calling. I mean, this guy is attached to projects left and right. I mean, look, he may not be at that level just yet of a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but he is surely slowly chipping away at it, right? So something to think about. I mean, I'm putting it out there right now. Do not be too surprised if next year, SummerSlam 2020, a John Cena match, and I don't know how you spin it. I don't know if it's a situation where John Cena has a match and it's a stipulation that's put out there where if John Cena loses, his in-ring career is over, right? You know, you basically do it like that. Or if it's just John Cena farewell. I don't, you know, but one of those two scenarios I'm picturing. That's it for John Cena. And the next time you see John Cena is when you put him in the Hall of Fame. You know, now if you were to ask me, well, when do I think the Hall of Fame is going to happen? I don't think a John Cena Hall of Fame would happen for probably, I would say a John Cena Hall of Fame probably is about maybe 4 years out. I think what it really just comes down to is where the venue is going to be, right? But I'm curious what you guys think. Are you down with a John Cena retirement match, at SummerSlam 2020, since it's be in Boston? Let me know. And I'm curious what y'all have to say about that. I really feel that I'm on to something. Now, some people may say, Lee, that's great, but what about, special one-offs from John Cena here and there? What about doing, some guest matches or whatever? I really think that we're at that point. We really don't need to see John Cena do any of those things. I'm just, maybe that's just me, but it just kind of feels like WWE as a whole has really outgrown John Cena, right? And it's just a case where, he wants to come in, he wants to do a quick hello, what have you, whatever. But the thing that you guys got to remember with regards to all of the things good that's happening for him outside of WWE with all of these movie projects, you got to remember when these actors sign on to do these deals. Remember what happened with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he had that, I think it was the first encounter that he had with John Cena at WrestleMania, and how he got injured and everything. That had set the production team and all that back for that movie he was working on by several weeks, because they had to cough up the money to get him checked out, the injury that he had going on, get that taken care of, get it cleaned up and everything. So when you have an injury like that come about, it just is a big nasty domino effect that ultimately is hurting the production. And for every day that the movie is not being shot is costing money. It's one thing if, hey, we're spending blah 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 a day, but we're shooting all of this stuff. But to not be shooting anything because somebody is injured and they're out rehabbing that injury, and you can't film anything else because that's your star, right? And so for every day that keeps going by, you're losing money as a result. So, I don't think that there's really going to be that many production companies, movie picture companies, that's really going to be that interested in taking the risk of John Cena doing a full-blown match, things of that nature. I think as far as from a physical standpoint, the best that you'll probably be getting from John Cena after a retirement match, so to speak, is maybe once in the blue moon, pops up, gives somebody an F5, cuts a little promo. Well, WWE, always be my home. Do, 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 do. And that's pretty much it, right? So, give or take. See here. Anything else I want to talk about with regards to Raw tonight? We had Michael Cole interview Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think that was a Skype interview. Pretty much, hey, you rub me, I'll rub you. Everything is good. Yeah, thanks, man. AC/DC, I love it. I love my AC/DC shirt, man. I was going to get into it later on, but since we're talking about AC/DC and music and everything, I was going to bring it up later in the show, but it's actually a good segue. I'm interacting with the folks that's checking out the stream live. So shout out to Gino. We got Austin in there. And everybody else, whoever's being silent, not saying anything, but you're checking out the stream right now, do appreciate it. We also got the Discord chat open as well. As a matter of fact, oh my God, oh woe is me, poor me. There we go. For you guys, I did say I was going to be live in the Discord as well, streaming the show. I just entered the on-air joint, so if you also want to hop in there, post some pictures and some cool shit like that, you can do that. But yeah, getting back music-wise, how many of you guys are big Metallica fans? If you guys are big Metallica fans, Metallica is going to be reuniting, first time in 20 years, by the way. They're going to be reuniting with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra, and they're doing S&M 2. And of all the Metallica albums, it's not my number one, but it's definitely of my top 5. I love the S&M concert, the album. I love all. I have everything of that. I thought it was great. What the late Michael Kamen was able to do with them was just fucking phenomenal. Some really great renditions came off of the first S&M. Probably one of my favorite songs was actually a newer song, No Leaf Clover. Badass song, just badass. But anyway, this September, Metallica is going to be hooking up with the Symphony Orchestra. And if you are not able to get tickets to that event, something cool that is happening right now for one night only, you'll be able to see that Metallica concert, S&M 2, in theaters. It's going to be happening in October, and I believe the dates, it's one day only. It's going to be, I think, October 9th. I'm pretty sure it's October 9th. I don't know why, but I thought I had saw October 15th as well. I don't know what that was about, but October 9th for sure. I actually went on Fandango to see what was going on with the tickets, and I actually was able to secure a ticket. And so again, if you guys are Metallica fans, you had enjoyed the first S&M. The second one, it's going to be going down, and I'm excited. I can't wait. This is going to be my first time going to a movie theater to see basically a musical concert, if you will. So, and I'm seeing it by myself because I was trying to get my girl to go with me, but she's like, I got to work late on Wednesday, so that's not really going to work. And then my best friend, who's also my coworker, was my coworker. She had left, went back home to go be with family and everything, because I was going to ask her. She's big into music and everything. I was going to ask her if maybe she wanted to tag along with me as soon as I had found out the news. But, sadly, she's already left. So I'm going to be seeing this alone. But I think one thing that's kind of cool, it's like, well, it's not going to be that bad because all you got to do is just show up wearing a Metallica shirt. And you're probably going to, you're going to a theater. You're seeing a thing about Metallica. It can't be that fucking hard to, make a new friend or whatever in the process, right? So check it out. I can tell you at the times that it looks like the movie is going to be shown, it looks like it's prime time. So be ready to pony up, depending on where you are. Be ready to pony up anywhere between $12 to maybe $18 to see this. And I have a feeling, knowing Metallica, I have a feeling that if the reviews and the buzz and everything is on freaking point, like it's equivalent to the first S&M, I have a feeling that they're probably going to follow up during the holiday rush, and they're probably going to put something out. I really wouldn't put it past them if that's something that they got planned. But yeah, FYI, check that out. And if you end up getting some tickets, let me know, because I don't know, maybe we could do something kind of cool one day where I do plan on reviewing it. So maybe we could do something kind of fucking cool. And when we do a review, we can kind of get everybody involved. Maybe do like a hangout and talk about the flick and everything. Going back to Raw, Andrade had defeated Rey Mysterio in a 2 out of 3 falls match. He pretty much beat Rey Mysterio cleanly. Rey Mysterio very choked up, very emotional, very heartbroken, as he was caught up backstage by Charlie Caruso. Saw what had happened to you. Seems like every single time you faced Andrade, he's had your number. Rey Mysterio breaking down, talking about his family. He's got a family to think about. So, what's going on with Rey Mysterio? Are we teasing some type of a retirement there with Ray? What exactly is going on? You got me. I'm just kicking back. I need a little bit more information before I can really chomp at the bits of that. But, look, I think we can all be in agreement. Since Rey Mysterio has been back this go round with the WWE, it's been very lackluster. What we saw of him over in Lucha Underground, that was fucking on point. What he's been doing, helping out in other wrestling promotions, all of those have been on point. Honestly, I just feel at this point, Ray should just focus on his own wrestling promotion. And what's the name of his wrestling promotion again? Aero Lucha? Like, focus on that. Ray, me and everybody else are still waiting for more information on the next opportunity to try to be a financial backer for this promotion. I remember we covered it on the show, I want to say late last year, where basically there was like a window of opportunity that you could go in if you wanted to be a financial backer for this promotion. And basically, kind of like the Green Bay Packers, the fans own the Green Bay Packers, right? Fans own the Green Bay Packers. Basically, with Aero Lucha, it's kind of like one of those type of deals where, if you got the money, whatever you can cough up, you basically are part owner of it and everything, right? It's basically designed, organized, by the people, for the people, or whatever. So I would rather Rey Mysterio at this point just go back, and I mean, it just looks like he's just phoning it in. It's just, look, I'm not expecting the Rey Mysterio post when Eddie Guerrero passed. I'm not expecting that form of a Rey Mysterio. I'm not. But I look at Ray and I go, my God, the man does not age. He does not age because he has the mask on, so he stays looking youthful. All it really is about is him being in the best shape. And I mean, he is in the best shape of his life right now. And he has been working such an extremely limited schedule. It's really hard to feel as invested in him as opposed to previous years and checking him out in other promotions and everything. So, if this is the beginning of the end of a swan song for Ray, you know what? I'm down. I am totally down with it. I know for Ray and the number of interviews that he had gave leading up to going back to the WWE, for him, it was always one of those deals where, hey, to be able to put a bookend on my career, having things pretty much wrap up in the WWE, that would really be good. Just to have things end on a very positive note, that would be good. And then something I gotta research next go round, there was discussion about how long his deal with WWE was this go round, and I think he actually may be coming up on that renewal, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the reports that was put out there by Dave Meltzer and crew was, take it with a grain of salt, but the reports that was originally put out there was WWE wanted for Rey Mysterio to commit like 3 to 4 years. Ray did not want that long length of a deal. Ray basically wanted it to be, okay, let's take it year by year. I could definitely commit to a full year, and then we'll go from there and we'll see what happens. So I don't know if he's already came up on that year and then some, and if it's been like a handshake deal or whatever. But, I would like to believe something's kind of coming about where what we're seeing of him right now is happening for a specific reason with regards to however the contract language is that he had agreed upon way back. See, Elias is your new 24/7 champion. That title had changed a couple of times tonight. It was kind of weird too, because at one point we had saw the Revival actually double team on R-Truth. They get the 24/7 title. One of the Lucha, God, what is their names? Lucha House Party guys. One of them was attacking one of the Revival guys. Freaking R-Truth comes in. No, R-Truth was actually, he was laid out. Yeah, he was just totally out of it. But what was really funny, I can't remember the guy, but somebody had hit, I want to say it was Scott Dawson. Scott Dawson is just basically laid the fuck out. And then somebody comes and pulls R-Truth over Scott Dawson. 1, 2, 3. R-Truth is the new 24/7 champion yet again. And you got Dash Wilder just looking on like his boy got popped or whatever. I mean, it was so weird. He's looking at him like his best friend is bleeding his guts out, and his mouth is open like, dude, your mouth is open any wider. A fucking Jet 47, it can fucking land in there. Close your fucking mouth. It's like your boy is still alive. It's about the 24/7 title. Every man for himself. Run over there, beat the shit out of R-Truth, get the title back, grab your friend, haul ass. Plain as, how simple is that, right? It's not that hard. Weird sequence. Everything just pretty much culminated in R-Truth celebrating backstage with Carmella that he got the title back, and Elias just wham out of nowhere hitting freaking R-Truth he's a 24/7 champion yet again. I'm assuming there's going to be a continuation of this going to SmackDown this Tuesday night. Remember how we were talking about, hey, no Braun Strowman, no Drew McIntyre, no Sami Zayn. All three of those guys we had got on Raw tonight, very conveniently. So, hey, nothing wrong with that. Steve Austin, during his interview with Michael Cole, giving a really good endorsement for Michael Cole. I mean, look, when it's all said and done, it's a good jerk off because Steve Austin has his straight up Steve Austin, whatever the hell he's calling that show. He's got that just premiered. And if you guys are a little bit curious, the way that this show seems to be going, because I was curious if this was going to be like a weekly type of show, or rather, I'm saying that wrong. I was under the impression that it was maybe going to be a nightly show. Like maybe it was going to be a Monday through Thursday type of deal. I don't know why I was thinking that. You guys got to forgive me, but that's what I was thinking. But it turns out it is a weekly show. Mondays after Raw, that's when they're doing it. So, and it runs 30 minutes long. Okay, so you're pretty much in and out. If you ain't got the DVR space or whatever, I'm sure you'll definitely be able to catch it on demand. I'm actually excited for the show. I do plan on checking that out when I get a free moment. Just going over the notes right before we get ready to move on to some other topics here. One thing that caught my eye, Robert Roode, didn't know he was still with the WWE there. Totally forgot all about the guy. Jose. No Way Jose. That guy has a phenomenal physique. He's got a great look. I think it might be time to take a step back and figure out a way to repackage him, because with a young man that looks the way that he looks, size and everything, that could be a bona fide future single star in the making if you handle it just right. So I really hope that in the coming year, WWE does a little something with him. I think he's deserving of it. I think the whole No Way Jose, I think WWE just needs to retire the black man or dark skinned man, happy-go-lucky dancing with everybody. I want you to come dance with me. They just need to retire that shtick, because it seems like every single year we have had some type of form of that. Why, it got to be about race, Lee? Okay, well, let's not make it be about race. We can also throw Fandango in there, because there was a period there where even Fandango was just kind of doing this thing, dancing and, the shucking and the jiving and all that shit. So, yeah, I really would like to see them do something totally different with No Way Jose. Knock on wood, fingers crossed that they're able to do something like that. Another thing that was announced on Raw tonight, they're going to be doing this King of the Ring tournament. They're doing all of this hype and Steve Austin and Booker T and, William Regal. And, if you ask me straight up, by the way, what was my favorite King of the Ring moment in King of the Ring history? Even if you want to talk about winners and all that, for me, when William Regal had won King of the Ring. And this was happening during that period where he was the Raw general manager. I mean, if you want to talk about an authority figure and everything, that for me was the highlight of fucking pro wrestling in WWE at that point. When William Regal with an iron fist was the man you wanted to hate as an authority figure. I still remember the infamous episode of Monday Night Raw where William Regal had Raw end abruptly. And I don't know if it ended like 15 minutes early or some shit like that, but the way it had fucking ended, oh my God, that shit was just hilarious. I was like, damn, and people were legitimately pissed off that night. For me, that's definitely one of my favorite King of the Ring moments. I mean, no shit, everybody's going to be like, Steve Austin, right? And everybody's going to say all that, but aside from that, I think William Regal for me was another one that really, really, the timing of that was so fucking awesome. But sadly, all of that goodness that was going on with William Regal, he unfortunately had some demons from his past that caught up to him, and his run as that general manager, it came to an abrupt end. But that was definitely one of my fondest memories from King of the Ring history. And what was really sad about them talking about this King of the Ring that's happening next week is the fact that what's up with the opponents? Who all are the people that's participating in this, and in what brackets are they going to be in? So far, the only names that we know of, I'll defer to you guys once again. The only names that we know of right now is Cedric Alexander and Drew McIntyre, who did have a one-on-one match tonight. Drew getting the upper hand on that. It's like, okay, so other than these two, who else is in this King of the Ring tournament? I hope that when we go to SmackDown, we can get a bit more information about this tournament. It would really be nice to hear the names. That way we can, kind of do like we do with college basketball and all of that other stuff, and we can make our little brackets, right? Kind of like what we did last year, courtesy of WWE, when they gave us the Cruiserweight tournament, and they gave us the Mae Young Classic brackets, and we're writing in who we think is going to advance and all that. That would be kind of nice if they did it like that. WWE is missing out on a really good opportunity too, from a marketing / PR standpoint, I would have to say, of capitalizing on these brackets. I mean, if you want to do something really, really cool and want to put a lot of attention on your product, I think it would be pretty badass if, like, when you do little tournaments like this, if you can have people go to your website, punch in the names of winners that they think is going to win in those brackets, and if their bracket is freaking flawless or whatever, top 3 people is randomly selected, basically, that are flawless. Grand prize, maybe tickets to Survivor Series. Second place, whole year subscription for the WWE Network. Third place, a $50 or a $100 gift card to go to WWEshop.com or some shit like that, right? Because, and look, not for nothing, that makes a lot of fucking sense. It's totally fucking cool. You're technically keeping everything in-house still within the WWE realm. And when it comes to the WWE merchandise in particular, who the fuck doesn't want to be going to WWE Shop right now? Because you go there, Bray Wyatt has a ton of shit that is up for sale. Right down to the point, they actually did a Firefly Funhouse box set. It's got like stickers and all kinds of shit. That thing is already sold out. But they got the Rascal Rabbit, they got the Vince McMahon puppet. Man, they got a nice amount. They got his gloves, they got his mask. The mask will run you $50. They got a lot of cool fucking Fiend Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse shit that's on there. So I think I'm on to something when they do that. Who knows, maybe they'll do that in the coming year. I think that would be pretty badass if they went ahead and they did that. Also, other than that, I don't really think there's anything else we need to get into tonight with regards to Raw. I mean, except for Seth Rollins. Looks like his next challenge is going to be from the likes of AJ Styles. They did have a champion versus champion match to close out Raw tonight. Neither titles were on the line, right? It's pretty much just about bragging rights and everything. It was all about the numbers game, as Gallows, Anderson, even though they were ejected from ringside, they still made their presence felt. Everything pretty much ended in total chaos, handicap in favor of the OC as they were gaining up on Rollins. Freaking Braun Strowman, of all people. Braun Strowman. Ricochet came out first. They kind of did a nice little number on him. Braun Strowman coming out, right? So pretty much cleaning the house. So safe to say that on next Monday's Raw, that's probably going to be a 3-on-3 matchup right there, right? But it looks as though maybe going into Night of Champions is going to be AJ taking on Seth Rollins, so we think. But I wonder if it's going to be title versus title and winner takes all. Because if we're going to be operating like that, that would be pretty freaking badass, right? Brock Lesnar, of course, news was revealed during WWE social media earlier today through Paul Heyman and everything, but no automatic rematch. I like how they kind of teased that Brock Lesnar was there, because Paul Heyman walks into Brock Lesnar's locker room and all that. That was kind of cool and everything, how they had set that up. But way it's looking right now, no rematch. So it is what it is. Hey, I want to take this time out. I want to recognize some of our Patreon members. Check out some cool, awesome bonus audio and video content on patreon.com/RCWR Show. Love dropping the content over there. We have a lot of fun. We got our new original series, Wrestling with the Topics, that's hosted by myself and Tams. We just go all over the place on non-wrestling related topics. Once in the blue moon, some wrestling related stuff does get in there, but it's a really fun show. I'm sure Patreon members, you gotta ask them. Yeah, that's definitely, of all the shows, that's definitely one of my favorites. And then we have 30 with Lee, reviewing movies, playing in the theaters, some hidden gems, some underrated stuff. Good stuff. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Get access starting at just $5 a month. Shout out to Patreon members Sean Kenter, Justin Rabach, Freddie, Michael Wolf, John Davis, my man Tony Bing Gaming. He's got a great YouTube channel at that same name. Check him out if you are into all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Super Wars, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. He's your guy. My good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup, and Joe Raymond Jr. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. So, couple of tidbits of some stuff that's come about since last we were on the air. First off, happy belated birthday to the immortal Hulk Hogan. Look, that is a name that, depending on who you talk to, some people, that's their childhood. That's their childhood. They have a lot of cool, fond memories. You have other people that, don't think too kindly of the Hulkster, right? But 66 years of age, that's where he's at right now. Celebrated a birthday, so happy belated birthday to him. I just wonder. With the day and age that we're in and everything, and the way that I've seen how some people can be two-faced, right? I wonder, knock on wood, that the Hulkster is going to be around for another 20 years, right? But I just wonder, the day that the Hulkster dies, I wonder if the same people that have him under this microscope do not believe in, well, you know what, a person can change their mind, their heart can change, and very piss poor lapse in judgment. These people that have these moral compasses in the air as if they've never done anything wrong in their entire life, that they are perfect. I wonder if on the day when the Hulkster dies, if they will continue to be as consistent in putting him down as they have been thus far. And that's not me defending the Hulkster by any means. That's just me really looking at things from a truly unbiased standpoint. Because, and I'll give you a good example why I'm asking that question. I remember how things were said about Ultimate Warrior before he died. Oh, Ultimate Warrior, oh, look what he said about, Chris Jericho, or I'm sorry, that's Superstar Billy Graham, forgive me. Look at what Ultimate Warrior had said about, the gays. That's one example. And look at the crazy stories that he's said about the Hulkster and everything. And there's a lot of bad stuff that's out there that Ultimate Warrior had said before he died. But when his kids came into the picture, his whole outlook on life had changed and everything, and he tried to live life for the better. And you still had people, while he was alive, mind you, you still had people that were just not letting it go. But then once he died, all of a sudden, tributes left and right. Oh, you're so nice, all this other shit. So I can't help but wonder if when the Hulkster dies, if it's going to be a case of like what went down with the Warrior, and now all of a sudden, and that's why I said two-faced. More power to those that continue to be consistent, and I sincerely mean that. If you are going to be that type of person, you're saying whatever you're saying right now, fuck Hulkster and all that, when he dies, I really hope that you continue to be consistent. I'm not saying you got to be an asshole. I would hope that you're going to say, hey, condolences to his family, not for nothing, but he kind of fucked up my childhood or left a bitter taste in my mouth after blah 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 blah. Right? I just hope that some of you guys are going to continue to be consistent with that. Also, while we're talking about the Hulkster, did you hear the story about the Hulkster getting a squad car ride at a airport? He basically had. You can't make this shit up. So out in Chicago, right? It would happen in my old turf there. So in Chicago, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, Hulkster, one other person. I guess the Hulkster was trying to get to a plane or some shit like that, and they were able to ride with this, I guess, an airport security guard or whatever, and somebody of Hogan's entourage was filming this. And Hulkster had, put the driver slash guard over and everything, and you could hear Jimmy Hart in the background saying, "Hey, hope you don't get in trouble for this. Hope you don't lose your job over this." And the guy says to Jimmy Hart, "Oh, nah, man, my boss is a big fan of yours. He's totally gonna love this fucking story. Nah, it's all good." And so, next thing you know, God, I don't know who filmed this, but it's funny because it eventually had caught the attention of the proper authority channels out there in Chicago, and now that officer has been stripped of his powers temporarily pending the outcome of the investigation. So I mean, when it's all said and done, the way this is looking right now, and for those of you wondering, well, what exactly was he stripped of? He has been stripped of being able to operate a vehicle at the airport. So let's say he meets another celebrity, he's not going to be able to do that shit that he did with the Hulkster to anybody else again, right? So, it's not like he's been stripped of his job and he's sitting at home somewhere waiting for the phone call when he's going to be able to come back to work. It's nothing like that at all. So please don't get confused, right? It's just certain clearances have been revoked for him as far as what he's allowed to do and he can't do. So, you hear that, and it's a hilarious fucking story. It really, really is. And look, when it's all said and done, that guard being shown on camera and then saying what he said about his boss, sadly, man, when you put yourself and when you put your boss in a situation like that, guess what? That boss at the end of the day, hey man, if it's gonna come down to your job or mine, sorry, bye-bye. I mean, that's literally how it's gonna be. That is literally how it's gonna be. So I hope that this guy does not lose his job. Cause that would just be petty. That would be petty on so many levels. That would be stupid on so many levels. So I'm hoping it doesn't come down to that. And instead it's just basically a reprimand, a write-up. And I hope they go easy on him. I remember a long fucking time ago, and this was at the Sean O'Hare Airport, by the way. Yeah, Hogan had the video, and you could hear him. He's saying, "My Uber's got a siren, brother." You're like, okay, all right. So he's riding in style. That's fucking badass, right? It sucks. It sucks. I'm kind of reminded of. I love telling this story. If you guys know your NBA action and everything, there was a time when I had first began doing security. Going back to late 1999, 2000. One of the first security companies that I had hooked up with, I was able to work briefly at BET headquarters. And that was a really, really cool fucking spot. And shortly after I got done working there, I ended up working in downtown DC. I wasn't that far away from the Georgetown area in Northwest Washington. And I remember one of my jobs as a security guard for this particular site, I would relieve the loading dock master while he went to lunch, and he would be gone for an hour. He was actually given an hour lunch break every single day. So my job was really fucking easy. All I had to do while I was out there at the loading dock, and I was able to listen to music while I was out there. All I had to do was just have my pen, clipboard handy, and any commercialized official vehicles that were authorized to be coming to the loading dock because they had deliveries to make. I basically would just write down the name of that company. I would mark down the time in which they got there, write their tag number. That's pretty much it. In some instances, I would have to also write down where they were going as far as where they were making their delivery to. So if it's FedEx, okay, they're going to the law firm, blah, blah, blah. Write that down. And where our loading dock was right across the street from a GW building. And when you just look at how everything was structured back then, the loading dock I was at, it was like literally right around the corner from, at that time, was a Tower Records. Fun times. I used to love going into that Tower Records every single time I got paid. And I would just spend my lunch break. And then other times I would actually just, after work, I would just be hanging out for a whole hour, listening to different types of music, talking to the cashiers because they were big into music as well. Once in a while, there would be some really cool musical acts that would come and perform. I'd see a little bit of them. Cool fucking stuff when that Tower Records was there. And that Tower Records was awesome because on one end, you know, because the way they broke it down was East End and West End. So one end you had Tower Records, the store that had the CDs, and it had vinyl, and it had cassettes, and then you had the opposite Tower Records that was just strictly DVDs, right? So I used to spend a lot of time in both of those goddamn bad boys. So one day I'm at the loading dock, and this ties into the Hulk Hogan story, so you guys, you'll see the connection in a second. So I'm working at the loading dock, and no bullshit, one day this car just comes up. I've never seen this car in my entire life, and I've been working at this loading dock for like almost 2 years, and I know who is who. And this bald head guy gets out, and he is a tall son of a bitch. And I'm like, holy shit, it is. And so I walk up to him and I said, oh my God, you're Brendan Haywood. Now, you guys that know your basketball, Brendan Haywood, he at one point used to play for the Washington Wizards. He played for the Wizards, he played for the Mavericks, he played for the Bobcats, and I think he also played for the Cavs. He was active from 2001, I want to say, up until about maybe 2014, 2015. So Brendan Haywood is in my loading dock, and at this point, he was on injury reserve. He was having some problems with his knee. I can't remember if he had got surgery or what. It's been so many years, you know, little things I forget. But I know for a fact he was out on injury. That much I do remember. And I talked to him for like about 10 minutes. And, you know, just going back and forth about how the Wizards season has been playing out so far. And, you know, telling him how much of a awesome player I thought he was and everything. Because he, you know, when he was healthy, you know, in his prime, he was a bad motherfucker. A bad motherfucker. And so I say to him, I said, so what brings you here? He's like, oh, man, I'm just trying to go in Tower Records. I got a couple of things that I'm trying to grab real quick. You know, a couple of CDs and all that. You know how it is, man. I was like, yeah, I know how it is exactly. He's like, is it cool? Can I park here? And I said, well, really? You can't. But you know what, man? I'll just look the other way. I'll just pretend I ain't see you. I could just say maybe I was helping somebody else or whatever. So go ahead, do what you got to do. He's like, oh, man, I appreciate that. Hey, can I give you an autograph? I said, shit, yeah, sure. And he's like, okay, well, wait right here, you know. So Brendan comes back and he's like, all I have is a napkin. It's like, that's cool. So he had a Sharpie. So on the napkin. And there was a homeless guy that was across the street. And that shit was funny. He was like, hey, Brendan Haywood. Hey, Brendan, hey, that's my brother, man. That's my brother. Hey, man. Hey, Brendan, how you doing, man? And Brendan's like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been so long since I see you, man. We can give your brother a couple of dollars, man. He's like, ha ha ha, yeah, sure, you're right. He's like, hey, thanks again, officer. I was like, yeah, no problem, no problem. So he goes into the store, and the homeless guy, yeah, yeah, that's Brendan Haywood. I'm like, mm-hmm. Hey, that's my brother, man. Yeah, we got the same mama and everything, man. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. So this is the part where I ask you to kindly go about your way. Ah, okay, yeah, no problem, man. I that's my brother, though. I was like, I'm sure he is your brother. Yeah, he's my brother, man. He give me money all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm sure that is the case. Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Well, young blood, see you later. I'm like, okay, whatever. So my supervisor comes and he goes, hey, Lee, what's the story with this car right here? That I stayed true to my word. I said, I'm not really sure. I was helping somebody else at the time, and this just came up. I got him, though. I'm going to give him about 10 more minutes, and, if the car's not gone, I'll put a sticker on there, right? He's like, okay, all right, as long as you're on it. I was like, yeah, I'm on it, no problem. So he leaves. Brendan comes back. Hey, man, thanks again. I was like, no problem, man, no problem. Anytime, no problem. Happy to help. And that was it. I sadly, for those of you curious, I sadly do not have that napkin. I don't know what the fuck happened. Somehow I lost that fucking napkin. I didn't use it to blow my nose or wipe my ass or no stupid little shit like that. But somehow I lost the fucking napkin. I was greatly disappointed in that. You hear these things all the time in the workplace. You usually have a case just like mine. I'm sure somebody else has their own respected story that's out there where they're working and a celebrity just freaking shows up and you give that celebrity preferential treatment. It's just automatic. And it's automatic because you know who they are. You're trying to make sure that you give them the utmost respect and customer service as much as humanly possible. But most importantly, you're trying to make sure that you're leaving that celebrity walking away with a really good experience. Because after all, in this day and age, celebrities have one very, very powerful thing at their disposal, and that is social media. I mean, how many times have you seen your favorite celebrity go on social media and they're either putting down a hotel chain or they're putting down a restaurant chain or whatever? And I mean, that shit travels. That has so much reach. That's why you see so many of these companies that have their official handles and all that, their official accounts, all that on social media, immediately try to reach out to these celebrities because they see these motherfuckers and their reach. Whether you have 100K of followers or you have 1 million or you got maybe 75,000 following you or whatever, just the fact that you are basically an influencer, a social media influencer is how we dub it in market research. That's something that you don't want to play around with, right? So we all in some form have given some type of preferential treatment to fucking celebrity. This was a case where, come on, like seriously, I hope that nothing bad happens to the guy, because when it's all said and done, I think any one of us would have basically done the same fucking thing, right? Especially if it's a situation where we know who that person is, we grew up on them, and we happen to be a fan of theirs. Yeah, we're probably going to not see. If that would have been me, if you guys would have asked me straight up, if that would have been me, I would have been like, hey, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Hart, I'd be more than happy to help you guys out and get you from this point to this point much quicker. You guys can ride with me, no problem. Hop on in. All I ask is that, if you're going to ride with me, no pictures, please, no video recordings. Are you guys okay with that? And then afterwards, once I get them to where they need to go, hey, great servicing you. Hey, by the way, big fan of yours. I'm not going to ask that celebrity if I can get their autograph. I'm not gonna do that. I've always been one of those type of people where unless it's volunteered to me, I'm not going to. I've just always been like that. I've always been like that. I've never just randomly ran up to somebody that I recognized and was like, "Can I get your fucking order?" I've never done that. I remember another time. I can't think of the girl's name. Same site. I remember I had relieved the. We used to have celebrities walk in all the fucking time at that damn site I was at. I remember there was this other time I had relieved the receptionist for lunch. So I'm sitting at her workstation in the main lobby, and I'll have to rely on you guys. I can't think of her name, but there used to be this. I think she won a gold medal in the Olympics. She was a gymnastic girl. Young little soft voice, very small. I mean, she probably stood maybe 4'2", had a nice tiny soft little squeaky voice, cute white girl, short hair. You guys probably know exactly who I'm talking about if you remember your Olympic sports from back then. She came into the joint one day. I recognized her and everything. And I just remember saying, hey, how you doing? Hey, she was like, hi, I'm pretty good. Her nice little trademark little voice and everything. And I told her, I said, hey, big fan of your work. Saw what you've been, doing over there, the Olympics and everything. You're awesome at what you do, gymnastic wise. And she's like, oh, thank you, and all that other shit. And me, I just treat them like fucking human beings. When it's all said and done, I think when you treat them like human beings, you give them that respect, it just makes things so much fucking easier, right? Because it's like, oh God, I can let my guard down. Because I'm sure a lot of them every fucking day, whether they're eating somewhere or they're moving, I'm sure that they probably go through so many people just trying to cram a fucking pen and piece of paper in their face, sign this for me, oh, my kid won't believe, and all that other shit. I actually prefer just treating them like human beings, and if they voluntarily say, hey, would you like an autograph? Then I'll take them up on it. But if they don't offer it, I ain't tripping. I'm not tripping over that shit. All right. By the way, we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week. We had talked about the big deal with WWE 2K20. That's going to be dropping in October and everything. And sadly, there was a second part to that we didn't get to talk about. And it's actually pretty big news, especially if you're a gamer and everything. So, WWE 2K developer Yuke's, they parted ways with 2K Sports after a very fruitful relationship that expanded 20 years. Yes, 20 years. So, it was announced last week that the 20-year partnership had officially came to the end. According to PlayStation Lifestyle, Yuke's senior vice president and producer Hiromi Futura, they revealed that they've been wanting to go in a new direction for quite some time now. And it was also expressed by Futura that she had concerns with their relationship with 2K Sports due to the recent decline in sales, which began after the release of WWE 2K18. Futura mentioned that her team is planning on creating their own wrestling IP, intellectual property, with the intention of now competing with their once former ally, WWE 2K. Let me quote this, and I do want to sound off on this, all right? Because, as a gamer, I definitely want to double down on this, right? And I'm sure you guys will definitely appreciate this. She said, and I quote, "We are aware that our creators are beginning to lose sight of their passion and confidence and becoming focused only on completing assigned tasks. That's not the direction Yuke's wants to go in. Right now, looking at the market demands, players are expecting something new every time we release a game, and we feel like we haven't achieved what we've really wanted to do. For example, in many cases, we're still using old assets and we're not able to do some things in the way that we want to. We are trying to launch a new wrestling game. Of course, we will retain the WWE team, but we are also aware that our creators are beginning to lose sight of their passion and confidence and becoming focused only on completing assigned tasks. That's not the direction Ukes wants to go in. So in order to compensate, we're going to start a new wrestling project. Taking Ukes' place, folks, is going to be a company called Visual Concepts. And they're a studio that has helped co-develop the 2K series for WWE since 2013, right? So, hearing that news, I'm not really surprised. I'm just, if anything, a bit taken back that it's taken this long for Ukes to kind of say, okay, you know what, we just kind of need to get away. This has been very beneficial from a financial standpoint and everything, but now it's time to just really sever ties and move in a different direction. I mean, I have friends and family and associates that at one point loved playing the WWE games. And yes, before anybody, yes, No Mercy, that is still today, hands down, one of the greatest fucking video games that was ever assembled. It is worth going out of your way, paying $300 for a Nintendo 64 just so you would be able to play that game, because that game has such high replay value, the great customizations that you're able to do. It's fucking awesome, right? It's awesome. For me too, though, aside from that game, I also had enjoyed RAW that came out on the original Xbox. And I know a lot of people knock that game because the controls for them was extremely hard. I always hear that all the time. The controls extremely hard. But once you mastered the controls, I didn't think the controls were that difficult at all. And I mean, I remember just doing 3-on-1 or whatever, and I was always winning my handicap matches. I was like that fucking good because I had the fucking control schemes down and everything, right? It wasn't no science or anything like that. It's just you play it enough, the repetition, eventually you get really good at the shit. That's just how it is. But RAW on Xbox, I thought, was another one because visually that game was awesome, and what you were able to do as far as stringing all the names together, and it's like, hey, the ring announcer is actually saying my name, like literally. It was like a really cool fucking game. But that, No Mercy for sure, SmackDown 2, Know Your Role, that was an awesome game as well. Even Here Comes the Pain was an awesome fucking game as well. But those in my inner circle, that were big on the wrestling games, they haven't played a WWE game in years. In a lot of cases, it can be as little as 5 years, and it can go, about maybe almost 10 years. And if there's one thing in which us overall as gamers that pay very close attention to the 2K series and have been playing these WWE games for quite a long time, because remember, before it became 2K, it was SmackDown versus Raw. Remember that. So it's been the same formula for many years now. Yeah, the graphics have gotten better here and there. It's been tweaked, but it seems like in some areas where, okay, that's improved a bit, well, they've taken many steps back and took these cool features out that was last seen in the title 2, 3, 4 titles ago, right? And so you're kind of now at a handicap or whatever. For me, I know one of the things that was like, oh, fuck, was whenever we had these next-gen consoles that rolled out, the first 2K game that would be on the next gen, it fucking sucked. And you're like, why does this game suck? Like, well, what's the problem? And usually we hear something along the lines of, well, we had to put out something for that respected console. We had to, it wasn't us. If we could have had it our way, we would have loved to have more time to really be able to get ourselves familiar with the next gen console, really maximize on what it's fully capable of doing, and give folks a really good, well-polished game. But this was a case where we had a deadline to meet because this title had to be part of the next gen official release lineup and everything in this respected quarter, yada yada yada, all that fucking bullshit. But there's been many years where it's just pretty much been like the same fucking game. Where's the motivation here? Where's the incentive for fucking playing? And that's why, particularly when you look at the 2K franchise, what they've been doing these past couple of years with these pre-ordered bundles, and they're doing the cool shit like with last year. With last year, they did the Ric Flair thing. I was looking down just now, trying to see if I could find it, and yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They did the Ric Flair collector joint. You got a replica of his Hall of Fame ring, and I think John Cena signed something too in that one, didn't he? And they got the super cards in there and everything. Now it's kind of more so about, well, what's in these collectibles? What's the incentive for me to go in and check it out and everything? I'm very curious what's going to happen with the next 2K game. Honestly, and I've been saying this off and on for a couple of years now. I wish what would ultimately happen is you get a 2K game where you don't need to do like Madden. You don't need to release these things every single fucking year like fucking clockwork. Why not miss a year or two and go back to the drawing board and, okay, so what can we really do? Where can we, because when you really stop and think about it, between WWE Supercard, between WWE Universe, WWE Mayhem, what's another one that's running around? My God, it feels like I'm missing some other ones. WWE Universe, WWE Mayhem, WWE Supercard. What's another one? There's another one I'm missing. I just can't fucking picture it right now. But I know there's another title that's out. Man, they got so many that's... Oh, I'm thinking of the one that was kind of running like Mortal Kombat, basically. What was it? Immortals? WWE Immortals or some shit like that. I mean, it seems like they're always coming out with some type of a mobile game. At least every fucking quarter, at least every fucking 3 months, there's some new title that's coming out. So keeping that in mind, when it comes to the next gen consoles, I get it. 2K and WWE, they're like, hey, there's money to be made here, but man, fans care so much about quality rather than quantity that if you just miss a year, just so you can really take a step back and just really fucking fine-tune your shit, right? And I think what was really the beginning of the end for a lot of folks that were playing these SmackDown versus Raw games and everything like that, I think the beginning of the end had really started to kick in. I would say if I could point to one particular title where folks kind of felt like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm done playing the game. Just looking at the games right now, I would say probably SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I think that was the last good fucking game. Like right before it became 2K and all that, I would have to go back to 2010 SmackDown versus Raw 2011. That game was really fucking good. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think what had happened after that. I think it was 2K12, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually trying to look it up right now here. Bear with me a second here, guys. Yeah, I'm almost certain it was... Let's see, 2K. Yeah, I'm looking at the Wikipedia now, so you guys gotta bear with me here. Yeah, WWE 2012. I thought so, because I was picturing Randy Orton on the cover. I just wasn't sure which one that was. That was a serious step backwards, because I remember there was a lot of cool features that were in the previous titles that had fans kind of going, what the fuck? And for a lot of them, that was kind of like the beginning of the end. And it seemed like with each new title, Yeah, once in a while you would get a couple of new moves here and there, but for the most part, you were pretty much just playing the same fucking. It was no get different than Madden. It's no different than Madden. A lot of people, that's why when 2K had briefly had that relationship in there where they were putting out their own NFL games. That's why it was such a fucking breath of fresh air, because people were like, "Oh man, this is so fucking cool." But then what happened? EA, they bought up as many NFL licenses and trademarks and all that shit as they could, and that pretty much had stopped 2K from having its respected run, tapping into football and everything. But more on that later. But hey, look, I'm still excited for this new one that's getting ready to come out, but I'm also keeping in mind that this is the last collaboration with Ukes that we're going to be getting this fall. So I hope things are pretty much ending on a solid note. Been meaning to talk about this, didn't get a chance to talk about it before, but I did watch the Rebuilding Big Show documentary. It's a mini doc. I don't know how many of you guys had an opportunity to check it out, but I definitely would encourage you all to check it out when you get a chance. It's very short. It's about maybe 25 minutes long, and for those of you very curious about what's going on with Big Show, where has he been, what has he been up to and everything, it basically chronicles how from December of 2018 how he had hip surgery. And the reason why he had this hip surgery is because he had developed a surgical infection from a previous time that they had operated on him. And they basically tried to treat it with antibiotics, but basically 2 surgeries, pretty much later, they got to go in there, they got to clean it up. The bone basically was damaged severely. So they basically had to go in this go round, remove the bone, the tissue, the metal removal, because the part that they replaced, there was metal that was in there. So basically the toxins, mix it with the metal, yeah, that could be very fucking lethal, right? So we're talking death. So there's a lot that they had to do and clean it up and everything. And then once they were able to do that, and his body reacted to it well after about 6-7 months, then he was going to get a permanent replacement and everything. So during this 25-minute piece, you're seeing what's going on with him rehabbing and everything, and pretty much everything ends, I would say, April 1st, when Raw had came to the Capital One Arena earlier this year. Big Show had did a series of tests with WWE's medical staff. They cleared him. They said he's good to go. He's pretty much been waiting since to get back into in-ring competition. And it's crazy when you watch it. I know a lot of people ended up having more respect for Big Show after they saw him on the Stone Cold podcast and everything, and hearing what Triple H had to say about Big Show and everything, and his own respected interview. And Big Show, one thing that I was really taken back by was, wow, here's this guy that has been involved in the wrestling business for so long, yet he still wants to go out there, he still wants to compete. He knows that he is of age where it's all about putting over the younger talents, and he's okay with that role. He just misses being in that ring. He misses being part of that brotherhood and everything. So it ends on such a cliffhanger where you're like, okay, so he's just waiting? Like, what the fuck, right? So very, very, it's worth checking out. If you're a fan of Big Show, or you're just a bit curious what's been happening with him, it's a really good thing to check out. I definitely would recommend you go out of your way, check it out when you get a chance. A couple more topics I want to get into before we get ready to wrap it up. I do want to try to have this be under an hour 40, because that's one of the things that I was talking to the missus about. I said, if I'm gonna do this show, I don't want it to be a long show, because it's Monday night. Let's try to see if we could do like 90, 95 minutes strong and pretty much roll out, right? So, a couple of news tidbits I want to get into before we get ready to wrap it up. You know, Jim Cornette has a graphic novel that's going to be released later this month. It's going to be on August the 21st. I would highly encourage you guys to go pre-order when you guys get an opportunity. The graphic novel, let me see if I can actually pull that up right now so I can show it some fucking love. And I'm definitely going to be reviewing that when it becomes available here. It's called Jim Cornette Presents Behind the Curtain Real Pro Wrestling Stories. It's available in paperback for just $10.49. You can also check this out on Kindle, your tablet device. So pretty fucking badass. And if you're already with Amazon, some of them will automatically hook you up with a $5 Kindle credit, right? So check that out when you get a chance. I like Jim Cornette. He's fucking awesome. As far as what the book is about, I'm just trying to see if there is a synopsis I can read for this one for you guys. Let me look here. Yeah, I pre-ordered mine over the weekend. Let me see here. There's no synopsis for the book. I mean, I pretty much just told you the title of the book. I mean, how much more information do you need? Speaking of Jim Cornette, I see he's been having a field day all day today. He basically was getting into it with Ryan Satin. And look, I don't need to spend 10 minutes talking about that. I'm like this. Jim Cornette has his fans. Ryan Satin has his respected fans. Look, there really is no winners. There really is no winners. There's no losers. You know, it's crazy. It's silly what's happened all day today between those two guys. I mean, look, I get where Jim Cornette is coming from. Jim Cornette, I kind of have to a degree the same philosophy that Jim has, but I'm not as blunt and crude in the way I put it out there, the way that Jim puts it out there. I do agree with Jim that there are individuals that's out there that have these blue check marks and they have done whatever. They've either paid to get these blue check marks or they've rubbed elbows with some people well connected to basically get that check mark. And it's sad because you've got people that are putting in the work day in and day out, legit, fucking legit, that are worthy of that fucking blue check mark, right? And then you have people that, you know, like a Ryan Satin. You know, Ryan Satin is a guy was doing his thing on TMZ for the longest time, and pretty much the way he treats wrestling and everything, he kind of tries to do a TMZ type of spin on it and everything, right? And, you know, that's cool and everything. Ryan Satin is all about rubbing elbows with as many people as possible, trying to get on their good side, trying to play footsie and everything like that. Whereas Jim Cornette, you know what, you may not like how crude Jim Cornette can be. You may not like how sharp of a tongue Jim Cornette has. But the one thing that I think anybody would agree upon is Jim Cornette, when you need it to be told to you how it is, when you need it to be given to you right between the eyes, unfiltered, Jim Cornette will do that. And if I have to pick between the two, if I have to pick between somebody being blunt but honest versus someone that's just playing footsie, that's just trying to be in with the in crowd and play up to whatever the flavor is at that moment, then I will take Jim Cornette any fucking day of the week. Now, that's not knocking Satin in any type of way. There are moments where Satin, he breaks some news and everything, but, you know, for me personally, I don't give Satin the time or the day. I don't. The people that I give time and day, I will go with Dave Meltzer, even though he's a little bit with the AEW Kool-Aid right now. I will still, for all the years, all his respected legit connections and everything, I will go with a Dave Meltzer. I will go with Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful. I will go with him. I will go with my friend Raj Guri from Wrestling Inc. I will go with those guys any day of the week before I even go with Ryan Satin. And that's just me. I mean, to each its own. Now, you may be one of those individuals that like Ryan Satin. I'm not telling you who to like and who to dislike. I'm just telling you the standpoint of where I'm coming from, basically, right? No different than what Jim Cornette has said about Joey Ryan over the years. And I said this on social media, again, Jim Cornette, say what you will, but if you have criticism or whatever, Jim will have dialogue with you. He will go back and forth with you. Unless you are a other fucking idiot and you just come off as a total douchebag, then Jim Cornette is done with you. But you can't have a constructive conversation with Joey Ryan, because Joey Ryan is the type of person who will block you. Right? Joey Ryan does not believe in, hey, I heard you say XYZ. I just wanted to create dialogue here. What the hell? You don't believe in what Joey Ryan is doing. You're not drinking his Kool-Aid, and somehow he gets whiff of that. You are his public enemy number one for, really silliness, quite honestly. Everybody has their own unique taste, their own preferences, and it's all about respecting it. It's a case of, well, hey, I may not understand it, I may not like it, but at the end of the day, I respect it, because at the end of the day, you're creating some type of livelihood for yourself. It's putting money in your pocket. So you know what? God bless you. You're able to do XYZ, So it's silly what was going on all day today. I mean, that was just a fucking field day between those guys. And I honestly have found it quite fucking hilarious. I would have to say, quite fucking hilarious. By the way, there is a new table for three that's on the WWE Network right now. Not sure how many of you are aware of this, but check it out when you get a chance. I'm actually going to be checking it out this week. I'll definitely review it next week. There is a table for three. It's cool because when it was taped out of Applebee's, and it features Braun Strowman, Alexa Bliss, Amber Moon. Looks like it should be pretty good. A little bit of a trailer that I saw for it actually looks pretty fucking solid. So scoop that up when you guys get an opportunity. Also, a little bit of AEW news. Cassidy, Orange Cassidy, they've announced that they've signed him to a deal. Again, they've signed him to a deal. And also with regards to AEW, there is, at this point, no shit, there's going to be some pay-per-views that's going to be happening. I think there's probably going to be one more pay-per-view before the year is out. I know we got the one coming up August 31st, but I think there's going to be one more pay-per-view that's going to be happening before the month is out. But it seems like the blueprint that AEW is trying to go with right now is have 4 major pay-per-views, basically, right? And then there is a new card update for them. I was ecstatic when I found out my girl Jazz was going to be part of this. But for the Casino Battle Royale, the buy-in, Jazz is going to be in it. Eva Lise Velez is going to be in it. Teal Piper, the daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper, she's going to be in it. And there's going to be a whole bunch of other women that's yet to be announced. That match has great importance at the next All Out event, because the winner gets a shot at the AEW Women's Championship. Rest of the card, the way it's looking right now, Chris Jericho taking on Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega takes on Jon Moxley. Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix take on the Young Bucks. Ladder match for the AAA tag titles. Best Friends versus the Dark Order. Winner receives first round bye in the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. Cody takes on Shawn Spears. Darby Allin versus Joey Janela versus Jimmy Havoc. So that's where everything stands right there. Hopefully we'll get a couple of more matches that'll be announced. Also, got to show some love to New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax 29. Quick results right here. Carl Fredericks and Clark Connors defeated Yota Tsuji and Ren Narita. Tiger Mask, Jushin Thunder Liger, and Jeff Cobb defeated Yoshi Kanmura, Tahachi, and Lance Archer. Sho, Yo, and Will Ospreay defeated Tajiri Ishimori, Chase Owens, and Yujiro Takahashi. Toa Henra and Juice Robinson defeated Shota Umino and Jon Moxley. LIJ defeated Taguchi Japan. Tommy Tonga, Tanaloa, and Bad Luck Falal defeated Kenta, Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii. Also, Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kazuki Okada. Cody Ibushi defeated Jay White in the G1 Climax Finals. And probably one of the biggest pieces of news that had came from this G1 was that Kenta became the latest member of the Bullet Club. Kenta had turned on his tag partners Yoshihashi and Tomohiro Ishii, and then ended up attacking Shibata after he tried to go in for the save. So, look, good stuff that's happening in New Japan. It's been a good minute since I've been kind of checking in and out there with New Japan, so it's definitely nice to keep tabs, find out what's been going on with them. Definitely gotta try to talk about them a lot more. I don't know what it is, man, but I have the episodes on the DVR. That's probably of all the things I can watch my Three Stooges, I can check out everything else, but I can't seem to make my way into checking out more New Japan. I gotta work on that. I will promise you guys I will definitely work on that a lot more, and in time I can get a lot better at pronouncing some of these names, but I didn't really do too bad from what we did just now. All right, so I'm gonna go on ahead, and there's really, well, you know what, one more thing I want to get into. Actually, no. What I'll do is this. There's some football talk I want to get into, but something new that we're doing with these shows. I told you guys we're going to do like about an hour 30, maybe like an hour 40 minutes, hour 45 tops. But what'll happen is when the show is being remixed, edited, and all that audio-wise, so I can put it up on the downloading platforms, on-demand platforms like iTunes and all that, there's going to be bonus 20 to 30 minutes of audio content, some bonus audio content. So if you guys have been wanting to know my thoughts about some of the stuff that's been happening football-wise, like with Antonio Brown, what's also been going on with the Cowboys, Dak, Zeke Elliott, and everything, that is going to be part of the bonus audio. So that bonus audio will be included with tonight's show, basically towards the tail end, and that'll pretty much take the show up for on demand and on the downloads. That'll pretty much take the show up to about 2 hours. That'll be available Tuesday night. So once I'm able to get in from work, I've had time to rest, recharge a little bit, that's when I'll get down to doing some post-production editing and all that good jazz. But at this point, your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you guys next Monday, August the 19th, after RAW goes off the air. Get used to it. New day and time, Monday nights after RAW goes off the air. And also, Patreon members, we are going to be recording some stuff for you guys this week. So stay connected. That way you know when the stuff is about to drop. In the chat room, for you guys watching the web stream, you may have saw I said something about Jeffrey Epstein. I will also be mentioning that as part of the on-demand and downloads as well. So don't think I forgot that. That's also something that I'll be dipping into as well. Appreciate everybody that had checked out the show live. If you're new, welcome. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the great content that comes your way on a weekly basis. You could definitely get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And also, we do have a cool Discord community chat server. check that out. It's great shit. It's free. You can check it out in the synopsis of this episode here. If you're checking the stream out on YouTube, just click on the description box and you can see it that way. Pop on in there. It's a great community that we have. Everybody's pretty cool, laid back. Somebody has a question, help each other out. It's a nice way to stay connected to me in between the shows and everything. All right. Once again, get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR Show. Shout outs for this week for the super chats. Gino, appreciate the love and support. Gino represented last night as well. So Gino, appreciate the love and support as always, my friend. Thank you so much. Shout out to Philip. Shout out to everybody that had checked out the stream live. Shout out to those of you that will be checking out the show on demand and on downloads, especially for the bonus audio content. That is going to do it. Until next go round, Patreon members, stay tuned this week. Everybody else, catch you guys next week. Be safe and be kind to one another. See you next go round. Y'all do take care.